As we enter the 3 weeks, mourning the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash and reflecting upon the many tragedies that have befallen Klal Yisrael throughout our long history, we naturally think about what has been lost. Yet this week's Parsha teaches us that in Judaism, what is truly sacred is never lost so long as its legacy continues. The daughters of Tzvi appear before Moshe with what seems to be a simple request, to receive their father's portion in Eretz Yisrael. But a closer reading reveals that they were asking for something far greater than an inheritance. Before presenting the request, they carefully described their father. They emphasized that he was neither among Korach's followers nor among those who repeatedly complained against Hashem. He did not incite or mislead others. Ki v'chet'o mes. He died because of his own sin. According to Rabbi Akiva, Tzvi was the Mekoshesh Eitzim, the one who gathered wood on Shabbos in violation of the Torah's prohibition, for which he was put to death. Yet Tosfos in Baba Basra 119 explain that his act was l'shem shamayim. He was Mosa Nefesh to strengthen the observance of Shabbos. The Chassam Sofer explains that this also answers another question. Why didn't the daughters of Tzvi simply ask whether, according to the Torah, daughters inherit? Why did they confidently declare, Tana lanu achuza, give us an inheritance? They believed that their father, who sacrificed himself for the sanctity of Hashem's name, for the sake of Shabbos Kodesh, surely deserved the promise proclaimed by Yeshayahu HaNavi, whose words we just read on the fast day of Shivasa B'Tammuz. V'nasati lehem b'veisi v'chomasai yad v'shem tov mibanim u'mibanos shem olam eten lo asher lo yikares. Hashem grants one who lives with such selfless devotion and dedication to Shabbos and to sanctifying Hashem's name, a name better than sons and daughters. The Menos Tzvi believed that their father deserved precisely that kind of legacy. Rav Wolf Tenenbaum, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, in his Sefer Rechovos Hanar, adds a beautiful insight. The daughters were not asking whether they would inherit. They already knew that they would. They were not asking for land. They were asking for memory. They wanted the inheritance forever to bear their father's name, so that whenever someone pointed to that portion of Eretz Yisrael, they would say, this is Tzvi's inheritance. This same principle appears in the story of Rus and Boaz. Rus desired not merely to secure a future for herself, but to ensure that the name and legacy of Machlon would not disappear from among his people. She wanted his name and legacy to remain forever connected to his inheritance in Eretz Yisrael. Boaz therefore redeemed the field to establish the name of the deceased upon his inheritance. As Rashi explains, the purpose was that his name should continue to be remembered upon his land. Judaism teaches that remembering someone is not merely an emotional act or a passing tribute. It's ensuring that his or her influence continues. The name has to be remembered among the living as a living legacy that blossoms and blooms. Rav Moshe Deitch, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, offers an additional insight. The daughters of Tzvi were not simply seeking a parcel of land that would bear their father's name. They longed for a portion of Eretz Yisrael upon which the mitzvos hatuliyos ba'aretz could be fulfilled, thereby bringing merit and spiritual elevation to their father's soul. What greater way could there be to perpetuate a person's memory? Not merely that his name be associated with a field, but that every mitzvah hatuliyah ba'aretz performed on that land would continue to generate merit for his neshama. Their father's legacy would not simply be remembered, it would continue to yield a spiritual harvest for generations. This lesson speaks to every generation. We naturally honor those who came before us with monuments, plaques, and beautiful tombstones. These are worthy expressions of respect, but the daughters of Tzvi teach us that the greatest memorial is found not in stone, but in life. A person's truest legacy lives on when his Torah, his mitzvahs, his ideals, and his acts of kindness continue to inspire others. The daughters of Tzvi came before Moshe seeking to ensure that their father's name would never disappear from Klal Yisrael. Hashem answered their request in a way they could have never imagined. More than 3,000 years later, Jews throughout the world still read their names, Machla, Noah, Chogla, Milka, and Tirzah. They devoted themselves to preserving their father's legacy. Hashem preserved theirs forever. That is the Torah's definition of a lasting memorial. Not words engraved upon stone, but lives that continue to illuminate future generations. This important message applies to us during the 3 weeks. We do not merely mourn the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash as an event of the past. We preserve its legacy every day by living lives of Torah, mitzvah, and kedusha, drawing ourselves closer to Hashem as the Karbanos once did. Every word of Torah we learn, every mitzvah we perform, and every act of chesed keeps alive the ideals for which the Beis HaMikdash stood. Just as the daughters of Slavchad refused to allow their father's legacy to disappear, so too we must ensure that the legacy of the Beis HaMikdash continues to live within us until the day it is rebuilt. Shabbat Shalom.